Well, the announcement this morning is we are wired. 100%. As far as we can tell from checking around the country, we are the first state in the nation to have 100% of our schools and libraries on the network and on the internet. That is a real achievement. And you can see in 1996, we were at a 9% hookup of schools in Maine at a 56 kilobit level, and now we're at 100%. That's an extraordinary achievement. Is that every tiny dot on this map, every school, every library is on a statewide intranet. They can hook and connect with each other directly, and they're also connected to the internet. This is a milestone, not a completion. This is a milestone toward the integration of Maine schools and libraries with the resources, the knowledge resources of the entire world. We are leading the nation in 4th grade math, 8th grade science, 4th grade reading. We celebrated that for about 40 minutes. Then what I said to Duke was, what about the rest of the world? That's where we want to lead. This is an enormous step in that direction. We are barely beginning to scratch the surface of the potential of the internet. We are barely beginning to understand what it can do and the educational resources that it can provide. He came home from school the other night, and somehow he'd gotten interested in Stonehenge. We've got an encyclopedia in our house that's pretty out of date. It had Stonehenge in it, but it wasn't very up to date. So we went through 4 steps. We turned the computer on, double-clicked on Netscape, double-clicked on Alta Vista, typed in Stonehenge, and we had 110,000 entries to choose from. We printed out pictures. In 15 minutes, there was more information about Stonehenge than I thought existed. Everything from scholarly articles to maps of how the stones were laid out to theories about what it all meant. And I think there maybe also were some entries involving rock groups called Stonehenge or something. The problem that I see with the internet now is that it is so rich, it is so laden with data, that we're going to have to figure out more sophisticated ways to search and to narrow our searches, because 110,000 entries isn't very helpful. By the way, there are about 400,000 entries if you type in Harley Davidson. This is such an exciting time for Maine, because our historic disadvantage has been location. That's been the problem. We were at the end of the line. We're not anymore. This is a democratic, with a small d, this is a democratic institution. And it will allow us to communicate among and between our schools in ways that we've never dreamed possible. And we are truly leading the nation. That's the news here today. First in the nation. My goal, as I said last week, was I think we're poised in Maine for a breakthrough in education. Not just a little incremental improvement, but a qualitative leap. And my goal is that we experience that breakthrough, and then 4 or 5 years from now, or even 3 years from now, when people across the country are talking about educational rankings, they'll say, well, we're first in the nation, except for Maine, of course. I want to be so far off the chart that we're in the category with Switzerland, Luxembourg, Singapore, and Finland, not Connecticut, Minnesota, and Tennessee. And we can do it. There is no reason we can't do it. And one of the enormous tools to do that is right here. My job is to say that today should be a day of tremendous celebration across this state. We don't celebrate enough. And this is a real achievement.